right? So that whole well-being, I just wanted to take that comment a little further, really spills into all of our lives.
It does.
Because I get told from people all the time, like, what do you train for? You're not an athlete. What do I train for? A surgeon told me that once. I was like, you should be training because you're about to go cut a human.
Yeah, right.
The NFL guy might just be going and tackling somebody. You really need to be on point. You're about to take a sharp knife to somebody, right? So what are you training for? Well, if you don't want to be the best or you don't want to have the best ability to deliver what you're promising to people, then don't train. But if you want to do the best in your everyday, day to day, even if I'm going to pick up that mug, like if I want to pick it up 100 times, I need to train myself to do that.
Right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sounds of Health, where every week we discover inspiring stories, meet incredible people, and share valuable resources to help you boost your physical, emotional, and financial well-being. I'm your host, Dave MacNiven, and I'm thrilled to welcome our guests today, Mike Ranfone and Dr. Marko Lujic from Ranfone Training Systems. If you're here to listen to Mike and Marko, please be sure to go back and check out some of our past episodes. And if you enjoy the show, stick around, like, subscribe. We come out every week on Monday, and we'd love to have you as part of the audience. Mike and Marko, welcome to Sounds of Health.
Yeah, great to be here.
Thanks for having us.
I don't think I did a great job with the last name.
No, you did great.
Yeah, it was close. It wasn't perfect.
It's way better than some of the other options out there. And you called me Marko, which was amazing.
Oh, okay, good. All right. Well, I'm glad I did something right. So I'm super excited to have you guys here. First of all, I've been hearing about all the work that you guys do in RTS for many, many years. I think I told you when I talked to you at that event that you did for the Entrepreneurs Organization that I was a member very briefly before COVID and then kind of got away from it.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to kind of hear about where you've gone. And it seems like the organization has been built and it just continues to grow. And, you're now on there. So really amazing thing. So I can't wait to talk about all of that and give our listeners some insight into that. But before we get to that, I'd love to learn a little bit more about each of your backgrounds and kind of where you're from and what brought you to this path, to what you're doing today.
Wow, where to start? So 35 years ago, in all honesty, 35 years ago, I attended Hamden Hall in 5th grade, and Marko was there for pre-K?
Yep, start to finish.
So he was instantly like my best friend from day one.
Really?
And yeah, I mean, most people think we make this stuff up, but
we actually sat next to each other on day one.
That's awesome.
And we've obviously kept in a good communication throughout the years. And I don't know, we had this idea of starting to work together probably about 6 years ago, and then we kind of forged it into existence, and we're still working on it. But it's obviously going very well for both of us, and we've been very complimentary with our services, our skills, where we're coming from professionally, and hopefully the end user really gets to enjoy the benefits of us working in a collaborative approach.
That's fantastic. Now, what was your background though, Mike? Like, did you go to school to do this? Like, how did you get to this?
Full disclosure, I was an economics and psychology major.
Okay.
But I had, lifelong athlete, battled injuries and wanted to be somewhere in the coaching space. And 25 years ago, strength and conditioning was like an emerging field. And I got my first internship with Yale back in like 02 or 03. And I was there for a few years. And then I went private sector. I went back to school for manual therapy and essentially just started my private sector work as a consultant / strength and conditioning coach for local high school teams. So it kind of was being back in my hometown allowed me to get out of Yale and then automatically have demand.
Right.
So it was really easy for me to transition out of, and everyone thought I was crazy back then. Leaving, I was the youngest NCAA head strength and conditioning coach in the country at 24.
Wow.
And I left.
That's amazing.
So yeah, I was only there for 3 years, and I took off, and I was like, I knew there was something else I should have been doing.
Yeah.
And because of just the parameters of working at Yale, it's more than a full-time gig, and I was concerned that I wasn't really going to be able to improve my skill set and my desire to learn more.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to peak at 25. I was really scared that that's where, I was going to end up forever. Not that this is necessarily a bad thing, but I just had different aspirational goals that I wanted to hit, and I didn't think I was going to be able to do it there. And every year that I stayed, it would have been obviously harder to get out.
Of course, yeah.
So that's why I was like, hey, I'm 25. Let me go back to school. Let me start this thing. Let me see what happens with it.
So that wasn't initially what you went to school for. So this is just kind of something that was a part of you that you wanted to pursue.
But I will interject. So part of life, I believe, is doing something you love or maybe that you're built to do. Mike arrived in 5th grade. We had a group of men in our class, or young boys, right? And we were all pretty athletic, and we were like, oh, we're going to be big stud athletes and come middle school, right? And then all of a sudden this guy comes into school, and I say guy because when you're in 5th grade, you shouldn't, like, people don't have quads and biceps and things like that. And he walked in and he had like musculature. Did he look
already fully formed?
He didn't look like this, but he was like a muscular guy.
Wow.
And the interesting thing is he says, I didn't go to college to do this, but I do believe like he was designed to do this, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely does. What were your sports?
Football was my main sport, but I played basketball, lacrosse. I mean, it was, back in the day, like every season you had a different opportunity to kind of dive into, but football was always my main sport. And I played in college, Union College, and then I thought I was going to be a pro strength and conditioning coach because that was back then. There was very few opportunities. You were either at a major Division I school or you were in the pros. That's it.
Yeah. Right.
So I just figured I'd hook up with a Division I school, catch a ride to the next level, and that was my understanding of how my career was going to go. But then when I got into it and I saw all this other opportunity, which will segue into how we were actually working together in the current capacity. But it was interesting for me to see what else could be done and the confines of, let's say, at that time, a corporate position.
Yeah.
You didn't have a lot of flexibility. And there wasn't really much knowledge around, like there wasn't really a deliberate career path. So I say that I didn't go to school for it, but I got my education done outside of schooling, like as being an athlete and being informed.
That makes sense.
Like I was writing everyone's program when I was a junior in college, because there was no strength and conditioning coach for us. So I always had this natural inclination to figure out human performance. And it just allowed me to pursue something with curiosity. And I think that's a real secret aspect of success is like being infinitely curious about a topic or a subject or a purpose for that matter.
Yeah. And not scared to make a jump when you feel it's the right thing to do. Yeah. So that's a huge part of it too,
half the battle.
Yeah. So Marko, tell me about your path.
So, our youth experience was, as Mike said, met in 5th grade and then transitioned through life and constantly in touch, constantly in communication. I ended up going down the medical school road. So I'd grown up in a house full of doctors and becoming a doctor was always in my mind. I fought it for a long time. I tried to see what else I could do, but all the kind of roads ended up converging on that. Mm-hmm. So went to medical school, did the training, the brick and mortar training at modern medical schools, Western medical style. Did general surgery residency locally at Yale, matriculated into becoming an attending surgeon and worked for many years. And I think at that point in time, I had previously realized I didn't know if I really wanted to be in corporate medical world. And one of the first times I really noticed it during residency was when I remember I walked into an operating room and the head of our division, the chairman of surgery, had no idea who I was, right? And we were 5.5 years deep. And his lack of knowledge of me had nothing to do with my voice. I'm very loud. I'm not shy. I had introduced myself to him multiple times.
Yeah.
And all it did was show me that like this mysterious chief who's supposed to be so smart, attention to detail is his major thing, right? We would sit in these meetings and he would just beat other surgeons down for missing details, except he didn't know my name.
Wow.
So instantly everything he said, right out the window, right? Like you clearly have no interest in the details. You're in the details of what you want. So from that day forward, I had this little inkling that like I might not end up in surgery world forever. Then I started working for corporate America as a paid surgeon, and that was fine, and it paid the bills, and my paycheck was wonderful. But I had this little experience of health myself, right? And I'd always clearly been in great communication with Mike, and I finally gave in where I wanted to give up. He never asked me to do it. I just gave in to my body being like, I feel terrible.
Yeah.
I was overworked, underslept, not eating well, having booze, like doing everything I thought I had to do as an adult who made a paycheck to prove like I made it.
Sure.
When really I was just destroying myself. So I went through this whole health transition, and Mike was, essentially the key to that happening.
Yeah.
So once this happened and once we started getting into it and we started discussing like, how do we make this healthcare, right? Like, why are we not doing this for other people? Like, I'm a physician, as well educated in health world as you can be, that we think, but I don't know how to keep myself healthy. So now I started learning more preventive measures. How do you intervene before you get to the hospital? How do you keep yourself out of the hospital?
Yeah.
And we started bouncing ideas off each other. Then all of a sudden it was like, well, maybe we can put a doctor's office in a gym. And it started as a thought, and we were like, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah.
And I mean, if I could tell you how many people laughed in my face, including family members, right, that are in medicine. I was like, no, we're going to open an office in the gym. And they'd be like, yeah. It's okay, Marko. Like, another dream, you know what I mean? But it ended up happening.
Yeah.
So over time, we just kept that ball rolling. My motivation to withdraw from corporate medicine, which is really a symptomatic coverage of medicine. It's not true preventive care.
Yeah.
With that fire, that drive, and I mean, between the two of us, we have, I think, enough competition in us to like really allow us to take what the other people or the other systems in healthcare are doing, find out what's wrong with it, and make it better. And that's kind of our whole goal.
That's amazing. It's amazing that you guys found each other at such a young age, and that you were kind of on this path. Like, I mean, to be so strongly attracted to what you're doing now from an early age is, I think, amazing.
Yeah, and I remember jokingly, one of my good buddies who I talk to a lot now in medical school, one day after a path exam, I remember we were sitting on like this little bench looking out at the water, and I was like, you know what I'm going to do, man? I was like, I'm just going to finish residency and work as long as I can so that I can find out what's wrong. And I said that, and I said, part of what I want to do is just prove to my family I can finish medical school and residency, because that's one thing.
Yeah.
But then beyond that, like, how can we actually make this better? Because we would complain about med school all the time too. And I was like, there's 500 of us complaining about what we're doing here, except all of us are fighting to be here. So like, do I really want it? That's confusing.
Yeah, that's
like
interesting.
I'm fighting to be somewhere where I can't stand being here because of the system.
Right.
So I think even at that stage, I had this like desire. And I mean, he's, along with me, we're willing to kind of stand up for what we believe in. So it was a nice blend of emotional, educational, and kind of character points of view to allow this to happen.
So even in school, you can kind of see the constraints of the healthcare system, and you're already feeling boxed in?
Yeah, I think it would be impossible not to.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was the delivery of information or it was the fact that I kept, even at that stage, and I wasn't the healthiest at the time. I was still like drinking alcohol and staying up late and doing all these other lifestyle habits that might not be good.
Sure.
But in my med school class, I looked around and like, for a lack of a better words, it was not a group of healthy people. And I remember being like, what are we doing?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like, how is this working? Like the guy next to me is eating cheeseburgers during class.
Right,
Like, how do we make this reasonable? So I think I always kind of had that in my head.
Yeah, that's so interesting. When I got into the healthcare system and as an insurance guy, I would go out and do these tabling events. And, they would train you to have things on the table to attract people over. And usually that meant there was a bowl of candy. I remember one of my friends calling me out and saying, you're promoting healthcare, you're offering candy to get people to come talk to you.
Right.
Like, that makes sense. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's amazing. Even when we started this podcast, I realized, I was like, I'm not in the best shape, and I'm hosting a health and wellness podcast. Like,
Sure.
I better get moving. and start doing things and making some changes.
It won't hurt.
No, definitely not. But it is so interesting to see people that go into those fields where, they are there to help others with their health, and they themselves have not taken their own advice.
And I mean, I'll hand over a little bit of the conversation, I think, to Mike on this, because I do believe, is one of the few and far between that lives the life that he projects onto you.
Yeah.
So if he's telling you to do something like drink more water, he's doing the same. If he's telling you to exercise, and I think that's a big takeaway, but any thoughts on that? Because I think it motivated me personally to get more involved.
Sure.
I think one of the underpinnings of all this was we talked about being competitive athletes at one point. And one of the things that was really appealing to the strength and conditioning world, it was all about performance. Mm-hmm. And my task essentially was, hey, we need this guy to do better, be faster, be bigger, run, throw, whatever. And then there was this glaring deficit in everyone's approach. And it was really to secure health, to make sure that you can reach maximal performance. Mm-hmm. So then you can look at all the avenues that come off of performance. Is it orthopedic health? Because that's what we usually think about with athletes. They blow out a knee, their shoulder, but what about their hormones? What about their nutrition? What about their mental health? Yeah, and now there's some other things coming out about how do we actually evaluate or assess someone's health, but in the context of performance. And as I got farther and farther away from my competitive days, and I became less and less of an athlete and more of just a general fitness guy,
right,
I was like, well, what should I be worried about in terms of performance? And it's lifestyle, right? It's these little things that you've done for 10 years, but now you feel the effects of them. So because they're compounding in the wrong direction.
Right.
And where I was from a business perspective or an entrepreneurial venture perspective, I started seeing what that looked like on the entrepreneurial side 10 years away from me. And at 37, 38, I was consulting, I was doing education, I was working with protein, I was all over the world doing these things. And I had all this stuff except my own health and well-being. I started to feel old. I started to feel what am I giving up? What's the cost of doing business? And I think that's just something that could be universally applied to where you are. So if you're a pro athlete, if you're a lawyer, if you're a mom and dad at home, what are you thinking about that demands your best performance? It's something. Yeah. Whether that's taking care of your kids, doing a good job at work, or whatever else you have going on. If you take better care of yourself, I guarantee you'll do that better.
Yeah.
And that's performance, right? We want best performance, and you can't do that without your best health.
And the sad thing in the medical realm of business is a hospital, at least from my experience, this is my opinion, would rather work a surgeon or a good doctor with good technical skills to such a high volume output that they make a lot of money.
Yeah.
But that person's day-to-day life doesn't really matter, right? Because once they're done, they'll just hire the next one. Because there's really no striving for better. It's just striving for more. Mm-hmm. And in medical world, that doesn't work. So imagine there would be days where surgeons would be running in and out of the lounge just being like, I haven't had a minute to even pee today.
Yeah.
Looking back on that, that's messed up. Do you want somebody back-to-back exhausted who's got a knife at
Definitely
your body?
not.
No, you want somebody who's well-rested, well-thought.
Right.
Definitely didn't drink the day before, not hungover, ate a good, well-balanced meal, isn't on a hypoglycemic low because they just pounded a bag of candy and they're a diabetic. You don't think about those things. And factored into medical error is none of that. We never consider the environment around the surgeon, right? Or doctor. How many doctors are distracted because something else in their life is off, right? So that whole well-being, I just wanted to take that comment a little further, really spills into all of our lives.
It does.
Because I get told from people all the time, what do you train for? You're not an athlete. What do I train for? A surgeon told me that once. I was like, you should be training because you're about to go cut a human.
Yeah, right.
The NFL guy might just be going and tackling somebody. You really need to be on point. Mm-hmm. You're about to take a sharp knife to somebody, right? So what are you training for? Well, if you don't want to be the best or you don't want to have the best ability to deliver what you're promising to people, then don't train. Mm-hmm. But if you want to do the best in your everyday, day-to-day, even if I'm going to pick up that mug, if I want to pick it up 100 times, I need to train myself to do that.
Right.
Right? And I don't want to pick it up the 100th time any worse than I did the first. And I think we lose sight of that day-to-day professional. It's worth training to be better at everything you do.
Right. I agree with that. I think it's such a great way of putting that, is that your performance doesn't have to be, running on a football field or being an incredible athlete. It could just be being your best self within your daily life.
Right. Even with kids,
especially with kids.
Snap off on people, you're short-tempered.
Of course.
But when you're healthier, you don't do that.
Of course. Yeah. And for people who are stuck in a job where it's high stress and they don't have that kind of thoughtful balance to their health, they go home, they take that out on the kids. They're not present.
Yeah.
They're, so they're not performing optimally. And so that's extremely important. I think this type of thing is really important for everybody within the context of their own life.
100%.
And everybody else is different,
Agreed.
Yeah. So how long was RTS in business before Marko came over and put the doctor's office inside the gym?
So we opened up, or it was just me. I mean, I always joke. I was like, well, I owned a job before I owned a business, right? Like, so you get an LLC, you get a bank account, and you get some way to process money. You're a business, right?
Yeah.
But it's a job, right? It's a job that no one wants either. So I started the LLC in 2005. We were open for 18 years. You opened in 2024 officially.
Okay.
So
a while.
19 years. We were in a single location in Hamden, and then he opened up his office in May or June of 2024.
Yeah, I used to.
It just feels like it's been forever because it's just been such a
But by the way, I used to post call in scrubs after work, go lift it as business. It was the best.
That's great. So is it still just the one location in
Yes.
Hamden? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And do you know of any other gyms that have done this, put a doctor's office inside it?
No, and I think there are going to be a lot of people trying to do it.
Yeah.
But I think there's one major factor that is going to be hard to overcome. And I'll tell you, for me, it was not hard because of one major factor, that we had been so close of friends since we were little.
Yeah.
Because it's rare, and I'm not congratulating myself at all for this, but it is something I would say that I do like in my character qualities. I was willing to check my ego at the door. So much so that people in my inner circle, I'm talking like advisors this close to you, blood is thicker than water type statement.
Yeah.
Why would you go into business with a gym owner? Now, I realize the benefit of frontline healthcare, and he's frontline healthcare. Now, I can enhance that with furthering my education with pharmacology and medicine and all my expertise in there. But if I don't check my ego at the door and remember that I'm not the most important thing in this health equation, I can't do this. And you're going to be hard pressed to find a doctor that really does that, because what a doctor will want to do is come in, he'll want to tell him everything he should be doing from the training end of it, how to support my business, right?
Yeah.
Where we don't have that.
Yeah.
Like, we have a really, really, I think, truly symbiotic relationship. There's no parasitic nature to this, right? It is, if I can send a patient or a client to him that needs expert advice on exercise, it's happening every time. I'll entertain a conversation to the point of like, I don't know beyond that. Just because I'm a doctor doesn't mean I know how to do the right thing on the table with eating or exercise every single time.
Yeah.
But here's our expert, and then vice versa, right? And I think that ability to make sure that I always remember I am not the most important piece to this, because without the exercise, without the nutrition, without him building the trust of a couple 100,000 people in the 17 years of business that then helped them graduate by trusting him into my services, which then I build their trust. That doesn't happen because doctors have an ego where they just want to hang a shingle on a door. It says, I'm a doctor, you should come see me, right?
Right.
But now you're fighting years of trust being broken by the regular medical system. So you think somebody random is going to be like, oh, no, I'm just going to go see that person, right? So that takes a lot of behind-the-scenes coordination. I think you can't give enough credit to me saying, okay, he's the most important piece in this wheel, and then him actually taking that seriously and funneling people he believes will have better healthcare towards me, and us really getting a nice result. So that's the first barrier to entry, is the doctors. You just won't find doctors that do that. The second barrier to entry is I do believe, I mean, like, you have an entire school of fish, being the medical community, swimming hard in a direction. They're going even harder towards single payer system. They're going even harder towards equal care, but on a government funded level where everybody gets the same thing.
Right.
And now the two of us say, nope, we're going to literally sprint into the storm. We want it fully privatized. The client has to buy in with accountability. You got to want to be there. You got to give us your time in the gym. But the key to that is you actually get what you pay for. And that's where the School of Fish Swimming This Way lose the customers. Yeah. We pay premiums, we pay deductibles, we get nothing. You pay us a fixed cost and you get everything we want. We give you and everything we told you you're going to give you.
You see the results.
Instantly.
Yeah.
So the last piece to that entire story is then accountability to result. Mm-hmm. As a physician, I am constantly hiding behind a corporate wall. When you're at the hospital, you can do whatever you want. Don't be fooled. Mm-hmm. Like if you think you're going to sue the doctor, have at it. You're suing the entire system. They're going to outpace you every single time. That's on purpose. But with us, there's no hiding. I can't hide. He can't hide. Mm-hmm. You come to see us, we're going to deliver you exactly what we tell you. And if you don't get that result, we got to figure out which one of us didn't do it. But if I did all mine, that's on you. That's completely changed the dynamic, right?
Yeah.
But I think the ability to do that, we as practitioners, the two of us, need to take full accountability for what we're delivering, mm-hmm. which at this point in our careers, we are very comfortable saying you're getting the best of the best in these two arenas.
Sure.
So now we will deliver you that. We will get the result, and all of our validation is result driven. Mm-hmm. So I think to get a doctor to do that is also very difficult because doctors don't truly like accountability for anything that goes
right, yeah.
anything but perfect.
Yeah. Well, many people don't like accountability.
Right.
So, I mean, you're also asking that of your clients
a lot.
And your patients,
yes.
that they need to have some skin in the game and they need to be accountable for what you're asking them to do.
And a huge amount. And I think the nice thing that Mike kind of set up before I even got there is his gym and that healthcare facility now is not, it's almost like a team. Mm-hmm. And we're not really scared to say, and I'll be quite transparent, like if not everybody makes the team.
Right. Yeah.
Right. You got to give us something from your end. The best part about this team though, all you got to give us is effort. We don't care about your skill set. Nobody's starting. Nobody's on the bench. Nope. You just got to make the team. Yeah. And if you make the team, you're going to get the best coaching, that the best player on the team and the worst player on the team, because all you need to do is give us effort. And once you give us the effort, you're essentially on an even playing ground with everybody.
Man, that sounds like my kind of team. I mean, I've never been really skilled or talented, but I've always worked hard.
That's right. And it pays off in this arena.
Yeah, that's great.
And that's probably where, like, obviously Marko laid out like kind of the structural reasons why it's going to be really hard to replicate some of these aspects. Yeah. But even from a philosophical standpoint, like what makes a great team? It's the buy-in to the larger purpose and mission. And, you know, Marko and I see eye to eye that like the gym of the future is going to change the future of healthcare. Like we say that.
Yeah.
But we believe it too. And like we wouldn't have attempted this to ruin 30 years plus of a relationship and ruin our careers and ruin all these other things if we didn't wholly believe that the upside was way better than the downside of it not happening.
And highlight what you said, the gym of the future will change healthcare, right? It's not the hospital, it's not the doctor, it's the actual gym. Like the front line of healthcare is him. And I think he takes that seriously. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And neither of us are here, like you said, just to make a buck and like see you later. No.
Yeah.
We see our clients every single day. We lift and exercise with them every single day. We know like what they want to tell us. We know because we see them, and there's not this scheduled meeting. It's more like, hey man, I'm not feeling so well today, or like we can interact on a friendly but keep it professional basis, which allows us to deliver a better product, I believe.
I bet. Yeah, that sounds incredible. Now, as far as the product is concerned, you guys offer a lot. Like, so tell us a little bit about what it is that you're offering there and what people can come to you for.
Where to begin? So obviously the gym has different types of training. So you can get one-on-one, semi-private, small group training, nutrition, accountability, lifestyle integration type of like, how do you actually make a behavior stick? And that comes down to the accountability of like, how do we actually get a plan to you? How do you adapt or acclimate to the plan? And how do we measure against what we said we were going to do? So there's various levels of intervening that the coach is fulfilling on. So that's really on the gym side. Now on the medical side, he can speak, but it's advanced diagnostics starting with blood work. Like what do we do if we don't know objectively what your infrastructure looks like?
Yeah.
And which is, again, becomes an integrative approach where he can tell me maybe the nutrition course of action has to change based on the most recent blood work or the blood panel or some of the other diagnostics, the RMR, the VO2, I'm missing one.
The DEXA, wave brain scan, and all of that data can contribute to somebody's healthcare.
Right.
And then from my end of it, what I like to, I'm trying to coin the phrase at this point, but it's like the missing link, right? So it's everything you don't get at the hospital.
Okay.
Or primary care.
Or your PCP.
Which is everything.
Yeah.
So now you're about to get everything, right? Like you've gotten nothing. I'm about to give you something.
Yeah.
The blood work is extensive. It's every single biomarker independent of cost return analysis. So I don't care how much we're spending on labs. Let's find out all this data because then we can make informed decisions. We're not assuming anything.
Right.
And then deliverable beyond that is it's essentially a concierge style medical approach where we become a team. Your health is our opponent and we are always trying to make it better, right? And it's not a matter of beating it. It's just a matter of never letting it call a play that you don't have an option to respond to, right? So if you step on the field and they're about to run the ball and they switch to a pass and you're not ready for that, you're done.
Yeah.
But if you're ready for the pass, the run, the timeout, the freeze play, whatever you're ready for, then it doesn't actually matter what the option called is, right? And that's the whole goal, to learn enough about the clients that we can deliver a concierge-style health service where you are ready to encounter each and every and all life situations that might throw you a curveball of disease.
Right.
Now, the deliverable on that is an extensive amount because the way I go through labs with people is like a story, and it's a metabolic history. And I can essentially go through and pull out, like, are you a heavy fat consumer? Are you a heavy carb consumer? Do you exercise? Do you not? How frequent are you exercise? What type of exercise do you do? Do you eat before, after your exercise? Do you sleep well? Are you hypo or hyperglycemic when you're sleeping? When you're awake? Do you eat too much sugar? Do you eat too much protein? Do you have too much fat? Are you getting attacked genetically behind the scenes that you don't even know about that's affecting your metabolic function? Heavy metals, trace elements, autoimmune. Every aspect of your health we analyze, and the whole goal is to leave no stone unturned, right? And then the deliverable back, after that story is told, after that story is agreed upon by both the client and myself, we then come up with a plan. That could involve hormone balancing, that could involve any sort of intervention with nutrition, so macronutrient adjustment, proteins, carbs, and fats, vitamins, a catered vitamin because everybody needs different stuff. We have been trained by the supplement world, just taken off the shelf.
Right.
We make a custom made to order based off labs vitamin, cancer screenings, cardiac imaging. So essentially the whole goal is independent kind of what the world around you is doing. We can make you so resilient that you can essentially cope with whatever attacks come your way, whether it's from viruses to a fall, eliminating broken bones to hopefully catching cancers, right? Like anything health-wise that's going to disallow you from having quality, we're going to try to fix. And that's the goal, is to get in front of that.
Okay. That's incredible. And so the exercise part of it is adapting to what you're learning and telling that story.
I can't tell you how many times somebody has told me their exercise regimen, and now that he's informed me of the results of certain styles, I can instantly say, no, we need to adjust that. You got to go speak to one of these people. And it's usually the fad style of exercise is doing a lot of damage.
Yeah, sure.
So we interact with that nutrition, medicine, and the exercise, it's a constant dance between the three.
Okay.
And if you think about it, like anytime we write a plan, like we're trying to make sure that everything is kind of integrated into that plan, but the body is dynamic.
Yeah.
It's going to adapt. It's going to evolve. So we don't just do it once. We do it in a continuous fashion, because as soon as we get new information, that means that your body has changed. So what's the plan look like now? So it's this dynamic feedback loop system across the medical, the training, the nutrition, and the clients being able to execute said plan. So even if we said, hey, you're going to be here in 3 months, and they're not, well, was it the wrong plan, or did we not execute the right plan correctly? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
but and maybe life just happens, which is totally cool.
Yeah.
But we're able to kind of shift gears and make sure that we are optimizing the path, as long as that person is still participating and providing effort.
Gotcha.
And one thing I think that's profound in my mind is we as humans get so stuck on like a disease and a label. Like if somebody's a diabetic, they're the diabetic.
Yeah.
Right? But they might be vitamin deficient, they might be undermuscled, they might be obese, they might have heart disease, but they're the diabetic, right? And we focus on that one thing so hard that we forget about the rest. Right? And I think that what the beauty of what we're doing that I love the most of, somebody walks in and they're diabetic and they always say, well, what are we doing about the diabetes? And I've told them 20 other things. And they're like, no, but what about the diabetes? I'm like, no, that's the treatment for the diabetes. Insulin is not. And I use that as an example. Somebody came in today. I have aches everywhere in my body. Okay. I've been to see ortho 2 or 3 times. Nobody has an answer. Okay. I do some PT, okay, but I can't really exercise because I was told not to overdo it because this is arthritis of overuse. I mean, so you take a rusty car and then you park it in the garage for 10 years.
Yeah.
Tell me what's going to happen when that rusty car comes out, right? So like simple things like that with an approach that we have where you have the expertise in that movement world. Because if I want to stop that guy as a doctor from coming back to my office with more complaints of knee pain, you know what I do? I tell him not to use the fucking knee. Excuse me. Fine.
Yeah.
But that's the wrong thing for the client.
Right.
I use that as an example because we do it all the time. Oh, you have heart disease, congestive heart failure. You can only pump out 30% ejection fraction. Don't do any exercise. No. Push yourself to the 30 and keep going, because the only way that heart's going to stay at 30 is if you keep it at 30. So we have the wrong take on that I think we've eliminated completely. Nobody is ever told to stay still. Nobody's ever told to stop moving. Movement is the key to all of this. Like I said before, he's the frontline healthcare. I'm bouncing off that. Without this going on in your life, I really don't matter. And you should, if the world were perfect, you probably shouldn't gain entry into the medical facility without showing us some effort on the backside. And we've kind of figured out how to make that happen.
Yeah. Are the options that you're offering, is it all a la carte, or is it something that you do it all?
I mean, we can't. It's everything's elective, right?
Yeah.
So we can't say that you can't see him if you don't see me. So
Sure.
we're not like trying to manipulate you. Some people just have different needs, and maybe the best place to access us or to start with us is on the training side or the nutrition side or then medical side. But we all we're trying to do is make sure that we're leveraging everything we have in house for your benefit. So it's only going to enhance your experience and your results that you are using all of us in different capacities. Like you might see Marko just for vitamins and blood.
Yeah.
Or you might be getting full hormone prescriptions because of what your blood is telling you. And then we are able to amplify the results that you would get anyways through nutrition training accountability services.
Yeah.
And
So-
the coolest part also that I really like to brag about, because it's kind of neat, is no matter what, if you walk in that facility and leave, there will never be a time where more harm has been done, right? Like whether it's a 0.01% increase or whatever it is, you will be a better physiologic human if you visit that spot. So selling something that is 100% guaranteed to help somebody is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is why I have the utmost confidence in delivering the message, because it doesn't bother me to tell somebody, You need this. Now, if they respond to need as like, oh, this is pretty cool, like I'll have an advantage, or he's trying to, either way, do what you want.
Yeah.
But I know this is for the better. And truly, we really are only there for the customer, right? And it's all a retraining of the public as well, because their knowledge of medicine is so distorted right now. The only reason Google Doc exists is because we lost the trust of the people. Mm-hmm. The only reason I exist is the system burnt their bridges with the elective paying customers of healthcare that want to get better.
Right.
Because you delivered them zero. Like if you were seeking improvement on your health, you can't get that at a PCP's office. You can't get that at the hospital. But if you're dying and you just need the opportunity to live another day, no problem.
Right. Yeah.
So the healthcare end of their world doesn't exist. We just created it. Truly. I do believe that. Like this is the first version in my mind of real healthcare. It is exercise and nutrition. Without it, healthcare doesn't exist.
Right.
And then there's a doctor who's willing to tag along for that ride, right? That's healthcare.
Yeah, that's incredible. So there's so many things I want to ask you guys about, and this can probably be a 4-hour episode. So I'm going to try and keep it from running that long.
Hey, it's your show.
But I know I literally could. There's so many different ways I was thinking to take the conversation, but I'm going to control myself a little bit. And I want to talk about what we were talking before we got on air, and that's how the company, the organization is a part of the community, and the work that you're doing. How important is it for you to be giving back through your RTS as well?
I know it sounds hokey, but like everything that we do is to help people, right? And I think there's opportunities, especially being in a community like Hamden, where there's people that need help. So part of our DNA, I would say, as people and as a business, is to try to pay it forward and provide any opportunity that we can, and that means maybe just leveraging the membership that we have to find charitable endeavors that exist around here. And this is something that we really did during the pandemic. Like we started doing free workouts, raising awareness and money for local charities. And there were an abundance of need at that point too.
Yeah.
And we would always had some charity, some drives, some things like that went on throughout the year. But that was the catalyst for us to make sure that we never lost sight of that, because it does matter, and we can make a difference. So part of it is just an extension of who we are. And then the members wanting to help, it becomes contagious, like helping people. And I think obviously we're biased, but our membership is very much in line with like bringing those types of opportunities to us and seeing if we can't lend a hand, or using our social media, using our voices, using our membership to help people that exceed our local community.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing because you have all of these people coming to this place and getting healthier and feeling better. And then it's a natural extension to then want to spread all of that out to the community and to bring more people in. So
without a doubt,
that's amazing. You're doing a couple of drives and things too.
Specifically. So, and this is open to the public. We have partnered with ACEs, and our first charity is a clothing drive that ends next Monday, the 22nd. And then after that, we'll do our fourth annual food drive, which, I mean, I can't tell you how the reception on that has been over the last couple of years, as along with a charity workout that will also contribute to the drive. That will happen from October 4th to November 15th. Let's just say that 6-week period. Again, people can come in, drop off food, they can attend the workout. All we ask is for a small donation to the drive itself to be able to participate. And that will be littered throughout our social media for the next 2 months. So if people want more information and want to participate or contribute, it's obviously, we appreciate it.
Absolutely. So you guys have a website people can check out, right? So what is that website?
rtsct.com.
And then you're on the social media channels?
Predominantly Facebook and Instagram, but what are we on?
TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. Michael Ranfone, Ranfone Training Systems. Mine's Lujic _ RTS Health MD. We are, I feel like, really loud voices in the social media world right now for healthcare.
Yeah.
And, our whole goal is to just get the message out. People don't even know this exists. People don't know it's possible. And truly, the more we build that, the whole charitable stuff, like everything we can build momentum with people trying to get healthy.
Now, what are your goals for the business? Do you see yourself expanding past the one location, or where do you want to take it?
I mean, honestly, it's so hard to build a model that we can repeat because we're limited by the time that we can allocate towards it.
Yeah.
So at some point, we are going to help people do this for themselves. Like our whole statement is like, we don't want to give you a fish, we want to teach you how to fish. And that's been directly for the end user. At some point, there will be providers, there'll be practitioners, there'll be gym owners that want to do this. And we want to give them the opportunity to be educated and try to build something that they're incredibly proud of as well.
Yeah, and we have a lot of inquiries.
I bet.
But the cool thing is, instead of just jumping on them, we don't want to give you 30% of the experience. So we are building out the proper approach to how we're going to do that. He's being humble, but there's a lot of people that want to do this. And I think when we get to that phase where we're willing to interact, because remember, it's also a screening thing too. Like if I worked for you, you have to make sure you're okay with me representing you.
Yeah, of course.
Independent of the product we're selling. Like you want to be able to say, Marko is the human I like to represent me, right?
Yep.
So that's the other thing that we really need to vet hard, because there are a lot of these, like Mike runs a gym that is very informed, but you can go to gyms where they're not, right? You can go to doctors that they're not. And we really want to make that go the right way. But the whole goal, if everything goes according to how we think, is we can empower more physicians, empower more gyms with using our blueprint and establishing their own practice like this. And we can help them do that. And all it's going to do is get more people better care.
That's a great thing to do. There's so many people who need it. And I think what you guys are doing, the model that you've built, all the things that you're putting into it is absolutely incredible. So
thank you.
And I want to thank you for your time. I'm going to get to the end here and wrap it up in a bit. But we always end with a health hack. I feel like you guys have talked a lot about different things, but I'm wondering, now I'm really curious to see what our
social media is all like,
it's all health hacks.
All tips, all information. Like everything, one of our kind of like submissions is always create options for people.
Yeah.
So if you can glean insight from what we're doing, what we're thinking about through our social, like we're not selling you anything, we're just giving away information.
Sure.
So that you can actually incorporate that in your day-to-day life and hopefully have a positive benefit. And at some point, if you do need us, you know where to find us. And you can already trust us that if it's worked, the free stuff has worked for you, imagine what the paid stuff looks like.
Yeah, you know? Right. Absolutely. Yeah, you're kind of building up that trust with just giving the information away for free. But how about something that each of you practices in your own life, something that you really feel helps you to get healthier? And it doesn't have to be physical health. It can be health in any way, shape, or form.
I will say this, a lot of people struggle with nutrition, and I can totally understand why, because there's a lot of information out there that doesn't really help people. They don't know what to trust, what to try, what's going to work, how to measure anything.
Yeah.
And I think if you just look at what most people talk about, the commonality is eat, for the most part, whole food, single ingredient whole food. If you did that 80 to 90% of your meals, you're in a really good position. And it's really easy to execute on that. It's like if it, I'm not saying processed food's bad.
Yeah.
I'm actually saying that's actually warranted at some point. But if you were just to eat lean meats, fruits, vegetables, single ingredient carbohydrate sources, potatoes, rice, you're pretty good. Like worry about food quality over food quantity in the beginning, and like it kind of takes care of itself.
That's a great tip.
So mine is, I've never shared this out loud. It's nothing crazy, but since I started going to the gym as a daily routine type thing, in the past 2.5, 3 years, I've tasked myself with every single morning, whether I'm going to the gym or not, at somewhere between 4:30 and 5 a.m., I have to stand up out of bed. And like, even if it's to go to the bathroom, I just have to stand up to make sure that no matter what day it is, if I had to do what I had to do that day and it started at 5 a.m., I would be prepared for the day. I've never been like a night person, so the mornings were never super difficult for me. So it's a little bit of cheating, playing the odds. But for me, it personally just reinforces to me that I can be consistent, right? Because part of the battle is looking in the mirror and being like, can you do this? Because we all sign up for stuff we can't really do. Always. Everybody does that. I'm going to go do this. And then you kind of don't do it. And
Yeah,
I'm
of
gonna
course.
do that. How many projects? And really, it's a matter of making eye contact with yourself, right? It's very easy for me to look at you in the eye and tell you what to do. It's very difficult for me to look at the mirror in my eyes and say, do that. Like that, I think, is what people don't get. So my whole thing is somewhere between 4:30 and 5, whether I'm going to go back and lay down again or whatever it is, I just need to know that I can stand up. If I had to get going for the day, I would. And then I can either get my day fully going or whatever I need to do in that hourly. So my usual statement, if somebody wanted to try to develop a habit like that as a hack, is just pick something you need to do that's going to be to your advantage every day. If it's you're going to drink a glass of water at noon, or you're going to eat a piece of protein, or whatever it might be, but just try to establish consistency in whatever that might be. For me, it was waking up. For somebody else, it might be something different.
And so there are days when you just lay right back down and go to sleep?
There are days where I'm fighting my brain and I'm just like, get up, and I just stand up and I'll lay back down and think or do whatever I got to do. But I just have to confirm to myself that I could adequately physically get up out of bed and go do something.
Gotcha. That's a new one. I don't think I've heard that one before. But I love the idea of the consistency
He's a weird guy,
behind it too. That's awesome. Well, guys, I want to thank you again for being here on Sounds of Health.
This was awesome.
And appreciate your time and all that you're doing. We will definitely share all of this information out with our audience as we continue to grow as well. And hopefully we'll get you back on the show. I think we might need to split you up at some point though, because I feel like there's so much more to talk about with each one of you.
Or we just do a mega episode and then split it.
We could do that. Yeah, we could just do like a
5-part mini series.
That would be awesome. Yeah, but thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Thank all of you out there for listening to Sounds of Health. That's a wrap on another episode. Brought to you by Nutmeg Insurance Advisors. We record every episode at the offices of Nutmeg Advisory Group in North Haven, Connecticut. Sounds of Health is produced by Jason Carubia with music by Rob Hames. And as always, I'm your host, Dave MacNiven. And every week, we bring you stories that inspire, empower, and help you to upgrade your health and life. So if you enjoy the show, all we ask is that you like, share, subscribe, even leave us a review. We'd love to hear from our listeners, and we hope that all of you out there will continue as an important member of our wellness community. Thanks for listening.